Arts integration and you. Integrate the arts into your classroom. Arts integration and you. Hi, I'm Jim White. I'd like to talk to you about integrating the arts into your regular classroom curriculum. I teach 6th grade science and social studies at Ivor Holmes Gove Middle School in Raymond, New Hampshire. For the last 22 months, I've been a part of the Lesley University Masters in Creative Arts Integration Program at Walnut Hill in Raymond. I'd like to share the techniques I've learned with you because I know they're going to work in your classroom. And when people hear arts integration, they wonder what we're talking about, and basically it's just integrating the arts. Visual arts like drawing, painting, sculpture, music, movement, drama, poetry, into the regular curriculum in such a way that we activate all different parts of the brain. We touch on all different learning styles and personality types. Unfortunately, it's often the case that people equate arts education with touchy-feely or fluffy and disposable. They wonder why we should be investing money into anything other than real-world skills and the 3 R's. What people forget is that the arts come back to our most basic and powerful modes of learning. When we're infants, our vision gradually sharpens, building brain connections. Brains! As we understand the visual composition of life. When we're toddlers, we learn about the world through movement. Dancing across the floor and figuring out things like concrete spatial relationships. We learn speech through listening to the melodious tones of our parents' voices, singing back and forth in a call and response until we understand which sounds are nonsense and which hold the power of communication. The unnatural way to learn is to sit in rows of desks, regurgitating flat information hurled at us like someone throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping something sticks. Want adults who can read maps and picture abstract concepts? Teach kids about the visual arts. Want a world where people know how to cooperate? Encourage kids to harmonize in band or chorus classes. Want workers who can think outside the box? Teach kids about the metaphorical and representational qualities of poetry and music. Engage them in acts of creativity and we'll have more Bells, Edisons, Einsteins, and Curies. They don't have to be Van Gogh, but wouldn't it be nice if they could see beyond the cubicle walls? That's what arts integration is about, opening up learning and opening up your teaching. Besides, the arts are fun, and students of any age are way more engaged when they're having fun. You ever feel like your teaching's getting a little boxed in? I mean, you know, maybe even a little, I don't know, stale? At this point, you might be ready to integrate more arts into your regular classroom activities and lessons, but you might be concerned about high-stakes testing. I really want to try integrating the arts into my classroom, but the test scores, I'm afraid. The good news is, an arts-based curriculum is a recipe for success in high-stakes testing. The fact of the matter is, this all comes out of brain-based research. Brains. Little understanding of the human brain can help. The human brain is kind of like a walnut, or this loaf of Portuguese bread. There are 2 hemispheres divided down the middle. Brains. Obviously, it's important for both sides to work together. And this is really a good time to talk about the fact that a lot of those traditional teaching methods are perfectly fine, and actually, they're the best strategies in a lot of situations. There's some great books out there for teachers and other learners, and they explain how all this works. Books like Teaching for the Two-Sided Mind. The left hemisphere tends to be more analytical, linear and sequential. You could think of it like it's looking at the trees. While the right hemisphere is more about synthesis, analyzing patterns and looking for a meaningful whole. It's seeing the forest. The arts tend to activate the right hemisphere of the brain, bringing in some of that broader-based thinking. If we integrate the two of them, we're going to have some very successful students. Two teachers walk into the break room, and one of them says to the other, "I'm integrating arts into my regular curriculum." And the second one says, "Arts in the regular curriculum? What are you, nuts?" When you hear the term storytelling, your brain probably goes back to elementary school. Mrs. Jones or Mrs. Smith sat the class down, sat in her rocking chair, and read you all a story. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's fabulous. But what we're talking about with storytelling is taking the story, taking the bones of it, making your own, and then presenting it as performance. So if students are taking vocabulary elements or other terms or other academic content and extrapolating that into a story framework, they're really having to use a lot of higher order thinking. And that's the kind of thinking we really want out of our students. Hi, my name's Maury and I'm a rock star. My real name's actually Metamorphic. My family has a long history of weird names. We're also all rock stars. Pretty strange, huh? It all started with my grandfather, Iggy. His real name was Igneous. He was in an underground rock band with Gary Granite and Polly Pumice. You might have heard of them. They played in clubs like the Magma and the Cavern. They were a pretty hot band for a while, but then they sort of got stuck in a rut and their career totally cooled off. My grandfather just started sitting around doing nothing. The thought of his fading career kept wearing away at him like water torture. Drip, drip, dripping. Well, somewhere in there he found the time to have my mom. She became a musician too and had a folk rock band called Sally and the Sediments. They played all down the Mississippi River. They even did a tour down the Amazon. She kind of took pieces of her dad's music and turned it into her own. When her career started sinking, she decided to settle down on a lake. There was a community of old folk rockers like herself. Larry Limestone was there, and so was this weird lady that just called herself Gypsum. Being settled down just made things worse. The memories of her brighter days kept pressing down on her. She developed body image problems, and she started to always dress in layers. She was really under a lot of pressure. Her life got harder and harder. I guess I was one bright spot in her life. I learned all about my grandfather's music as well as my mom's, and when I got old enough, I decided to form a rock band of my own. Talk about being under pressure. I grew up with 2 rock stars in the house. Things could easily get heated. I realized that I wanted to carry on the family tradition, but I needed to change it into something else and really make it different. My career is finally starting to heat up. I don't know how long I'll last in this business, but I do know one thing. No matter how much it changes, rock will never die.